Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a Wednesday's Talking Town match preview show. We're also going to discuss the transfer window that has slammed shut. The business has been done. What do we make of it? I've got some comments from our Discord, which you can join. Don't forget, at any point, 24/7 365 ITC chat by hitting the join button on YouTube, $4.99. Cancel at any point, should you so wish to, but you do get access to the Discord by becoming a YouTube member. And there's always some great conversations on there. So I'll bring you a little bit of a flavor of what our members have been saying. And as always, we need you in our live chat. You make the shows what they are. So please do get active with your comments, your feelings, your opinions, all of that absolutely beautiful stuff. And we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives and have a chance to win £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery by playing from just £1 each week. You're helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. It's always a tongue twister. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T's and C's apply. See the link in our description. But please, whatever you do, please gamble responsibly. We've got loads of you coming into the chat as we speak. Welcome in. Tractor Boy, Kieran, Mike, Greg, 80 the legend is here. Let us know your thoughts. And as always, I'm joined by the one, the only Mr. Matthew Phillips. Welcome in. How are you?
Yep, good, thanks. You over the Southampton result yet? Or are you still a bit got the ump about
still
it?
Still gnaws at me. You?
Yeah, I'm kind of over it now. I'm just looking. It's gone under the radar, this. The money that Wolves have spent in the window. They've done over 40 million on 3 players. Marshall
opportunity.
Yeah, Marshall Manitzi, 15 mil. He's a defender, I think. Giga, come out of the French league, 10 million, midfielder. And Agbadou out of the French league as well, 17 million. So, whilst we've kind of rolled the dice on some signings, so with those, it's going to go to the wire, isn't it? Wolves, that's for certain.
Well, yeah, but as I said, when you started the little list there, they've sensed opportunity. They've smelt that Town could be vulnerable, or Leicester, Leicester could be vulnerable, and it could be there for the taking. The window has slammed shut. I'll give you some thoughts from our Discord, but basically, because I'm old school, I don't want none of this 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 silly nonsense. I want A to F. I want your grade A to F, and the reason why. And I'll put it to the Discord, and we've got some great responses in there. We've got Mike D. It's a tricky grade because they've done well to bring in CISO, and they obviously see Philogene as a #1 target. Godfrey also very good, who has lots of Premier League experience, but he's not playing. The thing that everyone knows, though, is that 2 main areas that needed bodies haven't been addressed. And I'm sure the club have tried their best to get the right players in, but it could ultimately decide our fate. And Mike gives it a D, which, you can't argue with the logic there, really. Let's be honest.
That's poor, though, isn't it? A D. If I got a D in me school grade, I used to get told off.
Yeah, I don't know. I never got anything above an F. Rob says, I think the lack of number 9 and centre midfield player has suggested we resigned to the fact we're going down and didn't want to throw any further money at it. The weekend result hurt us. Just my opinion. Grade D+ from Rob Holmes. Ben says A- for the championship, which is what this window is for. 80 buying another goalkeeper has helped me to think a bit more positive. Matt, while the rest of the chat sort of catch up and put their grades in and the reasons why, what is your grade, sir? What do you grade this window as?
Is a D plus like bordering an E then?
No, it'd be borderline C, wouldn't it?
That's borderline C. I don't
D-
know.
should be borderline E.
It's been many years since I've been in the education system, mate. Well, Palmer was a bolt from the blue, wasn't it? I mean, if you've not seen the show with Chris, really good insight into him. I said on Sunday, maybe that'd be a low priority given, we were looking at there was rumours of Flynn Downs as a midfielder. Yeah. We'd been wanting a striker since the summer to come in with that. So that to me is a bit of a panic move, I think, to get Palmer in. So I wonder where that's come from. And if they're to spend, well, like Chris said, it was maybe 2 up front with 2 on top, going to 5 potentially. That's a lot of money to have to correct a mistake on Muir, which is what it is, isn't it? They've obviously lost faith in him after the Southampton game. I do wonder whether or not Game Changer have said spend the money on a keeper because it's costing us too much. We had said we'd watched Sky, hadn't we, with Carragher, and he'd said the standard of keeping wasn't very good. Ipswich was mentioned in that in that kind of example. And then suddenly out of nowhere, Alex Palmer comes in from West Bromwich Albion. A good keeper, one of the best in the Championship, I would say. I don't think his distribution's the best, but, very good reflexes, very good presence. Obviously played with O'Shea before, so there's a partnership there already. So like I say, that was Bolt Blue, but disappointing given that the rumours of Flynn Downs we were hoping was going to come in, and then Stuart Watson said on East England, didn't he? It was looking like 50-50, and we had a few things in our... See, one of the reasons to be in the Discord, everyone, over a transfer window, we get info. There's some intel around in there. So you missed out, get up for the summer now. So that was disappointing we couldn't get it over the line. I can see why Southampton didn't want to sell him to someone, a relegation rival. I say that. Yeah, they're at all intents and purposes down, and we've still got a good chance of survival, hopefully. Maybe I think there'll be a deal that will be done in the summer, Yeah. I think that in the summer, considering McKenna was close to getting him back in the summer, just
last
gone.
Summer, yeah.
And it made sense for him to go to St Mary's, I think, because he'd had success with Russell Martin and would been part of their promotion team, but that's all falling apart, and Russell Martin's no longer there. So, and Jurich doesn't like him by all accounts. The big disappointment for me though was the striker. I really was hoping we'd be able to get somebody in, and some names are floating around, and I still find it odd that, let's say, Laf goes to say eventually goes to Atlanta, doesn't he, in the MLS? Yet we were prepared to spend 20 million on him on the last day of the window in August. So I find that a bit odd that we didn't go back to him. I mean, here we are 11 goals later in the champ. So he's obviously found the net this season, and he's been in and out of the side since we put the bid in. I don't think he even played for a few weeks after we'd turned his head a little bit. So what would I grade the window? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because these players might come in and make an impact and keep us up, and then suddenly you look back on it a few months later and go, well, that was an A star.
This is why it's an reaction, isn't it, as opposed to a retrospective action, looking back longer term. You can only go on what you've got in front of you in terms of evidence.
Yeah,
at this point
I would say. See, Enciso's a really good signing for us. I said that when he come in. That was my feeling on it. Really exciting player, and everyone's got a taste of what he looks like against Southampton. I think he's really good. I think Palmer's going to be good for us. I'm sure that's going to shore up our problems between the goalkeeper and defence. Ben Godfrey, I was really pleased with coming in from Atalanta. I mean, 2 England caps, comes in on loan, not got sniffing at Italy in Serie A. Philogene, jury's still out a little bit. Need to see a little bit more of him. So I'd say maybe just below a B. So what's that? C plus?
You're going for a C plus, are you?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, if we'd managed to get Downs in, or a midfielder, that may have got me to a B, because then you're kind of negating the fact that Millsy hasn't been brilliant since November. Did we just do like an intense close up there for everyone watching?
We did, yeah, we did. Yeah, really intense.
Yeah, as you were on Spotify and various other platforms. And if we'd got the striker in, depending on who that would have been, then it could have been an A. Do you know what I mean? But I think a C plus is fair. I hope they can have the necessary impact to take us forward. Certainly, I think we're stronger. I haven't got weaker, have we? I mean, as you've said before, how many years did we used to watch Sky Sports News and go, no ins and outs at Ipswich? You're just going to keep consistent as you were. And they've spent some more money, bought in 4 players. We've obviously lost Edmondson, haven't we? He's departed the club. Yeah, I think it's got us better. But 14 games to make an impact. It's not many, is it?
It's really not many, no. And I know Ben was sort of, perhaps a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he says A- for the Championship, which is what the window's for. But, in terms of if you do get relegated, this could be in 6 months' time. You look back and say, what a really good window for that level it is. Philogene can cut it at that level. We know that. We've seen it with Hull. Palmer is one of the best in the Championship, as you said. And they're the only real, other than the younger players coming in, they're only 2 permanents. And then you've got Enciso on a loan, Godfrey on a loan. So they're more for now. But obviously, you have to grade it for now. We're living in the now, even though the recruitment perhaps on a wider sense speaks for tomorrow. So for me, I'm looking in the C, maybe top end of the D range. Whether they would have gone for Palmer had Christian Walton got injured, we'll never know. That'll be one of those we'll never know moments. So we can only live that they've gone for Palmer. They spent money on Palmer, albeit it's only 2 million. I say it's only 2 million. Christ, I spent so long wishing this club would spend 1 million. Now I'm saying it's only 2. But had Walton got injured or not got injured, would they have gone for Palmer? Would they have identified that perhaps they've, it's not worked, shall we say, at this moment in time in our goalkeeping department. Which, by the way, whether you think Muric will work out long term or not, which he may well work out as a long term goalkeeper still at this football club and be a very good one. For now, it's not quite worked out as we all would have hoped, right? That's fair to say.
That's not worked out at all. I mean, from his debut onwards, really.
So that's a problem of their own creating, because they've identified him. They've spent the £10 million on this player. They told their previous goalkeeper, Haladki, thank you, but no thank you.
They've made errors in this department, haven't they? Ever since Haladki left. Well, in fact, maybe since they couldn't get Haladki to sign the contract they wanted, which you could even go back to a year back from here, from this very point. He started getting linked to Celtic. Do you remember?
For whatever reason, they couldn't get a deal done. For whatever reason. But would you have been worse off had you rewarded Haladki, if you could, and then decided to make a move for Palmer right now in this window? Would you have been worse off with Haladki, for example? You would have been better off in the sense of £10 million richer. But would you have been worse off? Worse off? I don't think you would have done. I don't think you would have.
Probably not. I mean, we'll never know truly the answer to that, and whether or not Haladki would have been a Premier League quality keeper, we don't know. But
no, I don't think he would be a Premier League goalkeeper. I'm just saying, would you have been in a worse position?
Probably not. Well, we're second from
second from bottom with mistakes having piled up. But they have identified it. They have gone out and tried to bring somebody in to fix it, help in that department, whatever it might be. So they have to be, rewarded for that, because
Chris is gutted. I mean, I don't think he came across in the show. He is gutted he's left. He liked him. All the West Brom fans liked him. So it used to be us that was selling our assets, wasn't it? And now we've given him like you said before, Martin, if you give someone an opportunity to play in the Premier League for 5-6 months, take it. Which is what we were saying about Latte, wasn't it? Whether or not he moved to us, whereas he's moved on to elsewhere. But Ipswich have dangled the carrot of Premier League football and probably the number one position for the rest of the season, I would have thought, to Palmer. And that's why he's come here. I mean, he was only in the playoff mix, wasn't he, with West Bromwich Albion? So we've given him a real golden opportunity, and someone who's not played in the Premier League before. Who knows? I mean, who knows what the future might hold for him? Might be knocking on the England door at one point. Do you know what I mean? At Ramsdale was at Southampton. So, I mean, who knows what the future knows what
the future holds for Muric. I still think there's a good goalkeeper in there. I've sort of been one of his only defenders, it feels like at times on this platform.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope
there is a goalkeeper in there. He just needs, if anything, he needs taking out and giving a breather, if anything.
I don't think it's going to be at this club.
No,
I can't see it. I can't see it.
Well, we'll see. That's one of those in the future moments. Ben Godfrey has swapped Atalanta's bench for ours so far, except for Man City, obviously. What a way to make your debut, Ben. Get yourself out there, son.
Get yourself out there. It's going to be a shellacking.
Don't see him again. Don't see him. He's probably still nursing a bad hamstring, bad back, bad all sorts from trying to deal with Doku. But on the front of it so far, he's traded one bench for his. But he's a good player. I think we saw glimpses of it early in that Man City game, or was it the Brighton game? One of the games we've seen glimpses of it.
We saw in Man City and Bristol Rovers, didn't we?
So it'd be Man City. Man City. Enciso, magician. I've started calling him in our WhatsApp group. Just magician. Does things that ball you wouldn't have seen possible, particularly last week. I thought he was magnificent. Should have scored probably, but he didn't. And then of course you've got Jaden Philogene, which this time next year I think we'll be raving about. Will we be raving about him in 10 days game's time? I certainly hope we will be. I'm not sure.
Against his old club.
We didn't address the centre forward position again, the second window in a row that we failed to address that situation. Now people will tell me, but we brought Delap in that window, and we did. But the club were clearly after another striker in that window. So they didn't get one then, they didn't get one now. And everybody, I think, is in agreement about our midfield, which is rare as a fan base that you get an overwhelmingly feeling of majority of agreement about one position or a certain situation. But they are all in agreement on this one, Matt. But they didn't address it. Now you can say they tried, fair play, they tried, but they didn't address it. So it's always
difficult in January, though, isn't it? It's always everyone is looking at their side and from the first half of the season and going, we need to improve here, there, and everywhere. And we're in the market for the same play. It's not, And of course, we always look at it as fans with blue tinted spectacles on. Oh, why wouldn't so and so come to Ipswich? You know what I mean? Players are going to do what's best for them, as you've seen with Alex Palmer. We've dangled the carrot of Premier League football. He's made the move. Enciso has been out with injuries, hasn't been in and out of the side at Brighton. We've given him an opportunity to play regularly in the Premier League, get himself back to fitness, and get back to Brighton for next season. That's an agreement that works for both parties. And Ben Godfrey could have an opportunity to come and sign here permanently, maybe, depending on what division we might be in, come the summer. So, I mean, I think, we've done as best as we can, I suppose, but we do know that Ashton and McKenna aren't just going to sign any old player. There's certain criteria that we know they've got to fit into the group and all the boxes that they want ticked, and you've got to be the right character and all that kind of stuff. So they're not just going to sign anybody, but it does feel like a dice roll to try and have your Premier League survival aspirations on the hopes of a 21-year-old playing in his first Premier League season, and George Hurst, who hardly ever completes seasons. I mean, he's missed most of this one.
I agree. And this is where perhaps results also dictate the mood. Because had we beaten Southampton, obviously, I may well feel completely different. But because we lost against Southampton, and I've gotten a bit negative on myself, if I'm honest, in terms of how we're going to survive, the chances of survival.
Well, we've given. I don't blame you on that. I mean, look how many points they got now? 9. They got 4 off us.
Yeah. I want to survive more than anybody, desperately. I do not want to go back to the Championship. No. As you know, in the WhatsApp group, I keep moaning, "Don't take me back to the Championship, please."
Well, this is the place to be, isn't it? But I mean,
and it's a game every 3 days, ranging from 11 a.m. to midnight kickoff times in the Championship. It seems like, But basically, going in now a little bit more relaxed, I guess, because I'm hoping we survive, but I'm not expecting it. The result didn't happen on Saturday. It's an uphill battle. Villa is the first league game back. All of these different things on the horizon. You got, Arsenal, etc. But had we won on Saturday, and you told me now these are your front two until May, I'd have been absolutely off. Steam blowing at me ears, because you've got a player that's coming back from injury that hasn't sadly stayed fit.
No,
and then you've got the lap. It would be such a gamble. You have factor in other injuries that we've got in the front line, such as Smodic's been missing for a bit now, and Connor Chaplin as well. So it feels like we're very, very light in that. I mean, I know Enciso can play at the 9, and they're probably thinking Broadhead played a striker in the Championship a lot, didn't he? I think for maybe Sunderland or League One for Sunderland. He played that role for us against Maidstone. Let's not go there. Wilderness, Martin. Well, I am getting wilderness vibes from you right now, quite frankly, in the strike. No, not in the wilderness. No, because we're still there. I'm just look, we spoke 2 months ago on this show.
They're not ideal options. The options behind Delap and Hurst are not ideal because they're sticking plasters, aren't they? Because Smodic's played there against Newcastle.
Yeah,
I mean that didn't work at all, did it? I mean,
that wasn't his fault. The flow of that game was out of control.
Well, we won. The game was over after him. The game was over after a minute, wasn't it? And we went
what's
down.
Really interesting, exactly. And what's really interesting is we've flipped how we see it. Like 3 months ago, I was telling you results can come from anywhere. We're still going to get enough points. We're still going to get enough wins. We're definitely going to survive. And you were saying, "Oh, we can't do this. We can't do that. What are you talking about?" And then we went and beating Spurs. But now we've flipped, because you're telling me, "Oh, we're still in it. There's still that puncher's chance." You have all these different things I was telling you 3 months ago. And after being beaten by Southampton, I'm just feeling that gut punch still. You asked me how I was feeling at the start of the show. I'm just feeling that gut punch still. Like it's still, with me.
Yeah, if people are feeling that, there is a part of me that does feel that as well, because we've only won one more game than Southampton, and everyone's relegating them already. It's only because we've drawn so many. I don't know if you heard it, but on the Jim White, Simon Jordan show earlier this week on TalkSport, they were asking should McKenna be under more scrutiny? I don't think we're watching Talking Town, Mine, when we were talking about everyone pressing the button on their managers around us, other than us. But that was the topic of discussion, and they said no, because such a good young and up-and-coming manager that McKenna is. If Ipswich should go down, we'll be on a sound financial footing. Our finances are good and all that kind of stuff. We're a well-run club, all that kind of thing. But Jordan made the point that we've drawn too many games. And you could argue that we've drawn too many games because we haven't had enough striking options. So again, we come full circle. But he said if Ipswich just won 2 of those games of the 7 or 8 that we've drawn, we'd be above Wolves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
You know, so it's really fine
As
lines.
you know, the
isn't it?
Campo said, Matt, if a grandma ride wheel should be a bike, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean,
Right.
this is just this is the fine lines that we're talking about, aren't we? But yeah, so I'd say it depends if your glass half full or empty, really, isn't it? On one hand, you can think, oh, we've only won one more game than Southampton, but if we'd won 2 more than what we'd drawn, we would be fourth from bottom or whatever, or equal with Wolves or whatever it might be. And then you'd be thinking, well, we've got a really good opportunity. But I do agree with you that there are still, you do still see surprise results in the Premier League. None more so than Nottingham Forest's last 2 games. They go to Bournemouth and get drilled 5-0 when everyone's talking about them finishing in Champions League spots and nearly beating Liverpool at the City Ground. And they return to the City Ground and beat Brighton 7-0. Now, we watched Brighton beat us handedly 2-0 at Pullman Road. Who would have thought, certainly their fan base wouldn't have thought they had a 7-0 on the horizon in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well,
Do you know what I
mean? Slightly different.
But that just shows you how different the Premier League can be on any other week. So I don't really think like I don't really feel like just because Southampton have come and beaten Ipswich at Pullman Road doesn't mean we couldn't go to Aston Villa and not get something from there. Do you know what I mean?
Certainly doesn't. And then you watch me next week. We're going to get a result against Villa. You watch me next week. I'll be completely flipped again.
Well, you're fickle, aren't you? You're a fickle fan.
Well, no, what I'm doing is I'm protecting myself. I'm bringing myself back into the Championship mentally. Just to protect my heart, because I'm desperately wanting to stay in this division. With everything, Matt will tell you how desperate I am to stay in this division.
Yeah,
desperate.
Mike doesn't want 8 more games, which means 8 more podcasts and previews and having to try and sandwich it in between us all. No, I do. No, well, I mean, look, we spent years wanting to get back into the Premier League, and here we are. You know, and it's been a slog, isn't it? I don't feel it would be as much of a slog if we were to stay up and net another 150 million plus into the coffers. I mean, there was very interesting debates on Kings of England and Blue Monday around all of this stuff, whereupon I think Joe on Blue Monday was saying that, you know, Ipswich have had to quickly put in the players we've signed from the Championship into the first team because needs must. But if you look at other clubs, you can't drip feed, is exactly what Joe was saying. And your Bournemouths and your Brentfords and Brightons and all that lot, send their players out on loan. I'll go and have a season at Ipswich, come back, we'll see you next season. And it's only in the 2nd or 3rd year that they start doing something. We've not had that luxury. Everyone's had to, because of the recruitment and how we've been, and the fact we've been promoted so quickly with half the squad being League One campaigners, we've had to do that. So we've not really had the luxury of that, but we would have if we were to maybe be able to stay up this season. But
and that's another reason, that's another reason why I'm so desperate, because you can see what this club, you know, if you're saying division, what it could be. Like, you're not a million miles away, having just been promoted, and Aston would say building it mid-flight, all these different things.
You can taste it. You said you can taste.
You can taste the foundation of being the next Brentford or Brighton being laid. And obviously relegation would set that back because you'd lose maybe a couple of quality players. You obviously you change how you shop because you wouldn't be looking in the Premier League pool. You'd be looking at other areas. But it's there. If we could just go, and that's why I'm so desperate. If I could drag the club myself, like World's Strongest Man at Christmas, you ever seen those TV shows on Channel 5? If I could pick this club up and drag it myself like a HGV, believe me, Matt, I would. I seriously would, mate. Nothing in this world will be able to stop me. But we got the FA Cup this weekend. Is it a welcome distraction, first and foremost?
Is it a welcome? Maybe a little bit, just from the cut and thrust of the Premier League, and certainly off the back of a disappointment against Southampton. What it does give us is an opportunity to win a game, which has been very few and far between this season. We've only won 3, and we couldn't even beat Wimbledon in the Carabao, could we? No. So wins have been very few and far between. As we've said previously, you know, if we can get a win, then that hopefully gives us some confidence. And what does that breed? Some momentum going into the Wolves and the Spurs. The Villa and the Spurs games, which feels like we've got to get a win out of one of those games potentially. That said, of course, Wolves have got who have they got? Bournemouth and Liverpool, haven't they? Away from home. Yeah. So they're 2 tough games. And that's where the trick is for Ipswich, isn't it? If Wolves get 0 out of their next 2 games, what are we picking up in order to cut the points deficit down, which is, in all intents and purposes, 4, really, because of the extra point they get with the goal difference, which is 9, I think.
Well, I think the target has to be make that Wolves game meaningful. Make it mean something. Don't.
Yeah, April, isn't it? Start of
Yeah.
April, that one, isn't
You've
it?
got like 6 games, I think it is.
Yeah.
But, you've got Palace, Forest, Man United, Tottenham, Villa, and I think there's one other in there, potentially not. But that's the aim of the game now, isn't it? Forget sort of the whole season at the moment. Just break it down into we've got to make that home game against Wolves a meaningful game. Got to make it a chance to either draw level or nip ahead.
Yeah, leapfrog them. Yeah,
but don't enter it more than 3 or 4 points out of it. Otherwise, it won't be as meaningless, but it certainly will be.
It does because wins are so few, not few and far between this season. I don't think we can let that gap get any more than what it is at the moment. I know it's 3 points, but obviously with the goal difference, if it was suddenly to get to 5 or 6, I think we're struggling big time. Because then suddenly you've got to try and win 3 games on the bounce. If they were to win 2 or whatever, you're constantly going to be behind them. At the moment, we've still got an opportunity to catch them, given the fixture list.
And so this weekend is a really good opportunity to,
I think so,
try and generate, because at the moment we've got no momentum ourselves. So this is perhaps a good opportunity to try and generate a little bit of momentum into Villa. Can we get a result that people on their accumulators and the bookies, etc., wouldn't expect? If you can, as I said last week about how you can suddenly strike a match and catch fire, and that's what sets seasons up at this point of the campaign. That could be it. A win here, a result there. Suddenly you've got something that you can build on and potentially sort of get going with. Yeah,
agreed. And they said on the other town pods that McKenna's always done pretty well in the second half of the season. Remember, everyone, as no one likes me to forget, I was sacking McKenna after Bristol Rovers Valentine's Day, and we go on the huge run, didn't we, in League One? And you saw a really good run in the Championship as well. Now, whether or not we can replicate that against higher opposition, better opposition in the Premier League, well, that's uncharted waters at the moment. We could do it in the Football League, but obviously we were a stronger side there, pushing for promotion in both campaigns. It's a little bit of a different story, isn't it, when you're trying to survive? The talent gulf is quite big.
But cling on to what we know, and that we come good in the second half of the season. So with that said, what changes are you looking to make for Saturday? Because I'll lay my stall out nice and early. I would make arguably just one change Saturday.
I'm laughing because I've put my Kieran McKenna hat on. I've made wholesale changes.
Yeah, well, I get the I'll hear you out in a minute. But I get what you're gonna tell me, and I get why you're gonna tell me it.
I get your point as well, because I said Sunday. Is there an argument to keep the same side? Pretty much.
Yeah.
But
let's get some momentum. Like people say, about injuries, and then you could get injured crossing the street. You could get injured doing the shopping. You could get injured at any point in training.
Washing up.
What? Yeah, washing up. Yeah, I was doing that earlier. I was thinking about Axel earlier. I was washing up, and I was thinking.
That's why you should have a dishwasher, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, that was on and full, so I had to wash up. That's just why he had to suffer. But yeah, I would just go same team. Let's try and get a result. Build those partnerships, which Mick Mills speaks about on the radio, every single week. It feels like get a result if we can get one, and if you can, take it forward, because you're not playing for another week. It's not like you're playing, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it is in the Championship these days. Sorry to go on again about the Championship. But what are you doing then? What's your team wholesale change?
I do agree with that, but I'm also kind of thinking, what do I think McKenna's going to do? And I think he probably will make wholesale changes because it's got such a big squad and needs to keep people happy and give them game time. Should you get injured in the number of scenarios you've just mentioned and need to come into the side? So it seems to make sense. He's not cup tied, so I think Palmer's going to start, isn't he? He didn't play in the West Ham
every single week. This must be the easiest in. Because you miss a game, you play a game. You miss a game, you play a game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we said this Sunday. He doesn't actually have a starting 11, does he? So I think Palmer's going to get his debut. That would make sense because he's going to play against Villa, right? So let's give him 90 minutes. And I think on the right hand, so I'm going to play 4-2-3-1 like we did against Southampton. So I think, and that lends itself, I think, to playing Coventry from the Championship. I've got Godfrey at right back. I'm bringing Wolfenden back. He's just signed a new contract. Needs game time. I'm bringing him in. I'm bringing back Burgess. Let's give him some time as well. Who knows? He could play against Villa. He needs a 90 minutes under his belt. I mean, he's been interchangeable with Greaves all season, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone seemed to like the cameo that Townsend had against Bristol Rovers and the second half against Liverpool. So I'm going to sit Leaf down. I think Leaf had a great game against Southampton, particularly. So I'm going to sit him down. Let's see what Townsend can do over 90 minutes against the champs side.
Okay.
Into the midfield, Calvin comes in with the question marks, as we said earlier, about our midfield currently. Calvin hasn't had a look in, has he, really, recently? So he comes in. Jack Taylor's going to partner him, to give you the Cahuste energy. And then, obviously, Enciso can't play because he's already scored against Norwich in the Cup in that 4-0 Brighton had.
He did, yeah.
So there's my question mark, who plays in that middle position, because it's limited, isn't it, with the knowledge we've got at the moment, with Smolix and Chaplin, we think, being out. So I'm going to bring Jayden on the right, and then it's either going to be Amari or Broadhead in that middle role. Hence the reason I said Broadhead has played centrally before. I want to give Jack Clark a run out. We know he's been really good in the Championship. Let's see if we can get his confidence going against opposition he's played with against previously. So I'm bringing him on the left, which is why I've put Jayden on the right. Not ideal. And then I'm not risking Delap with being 2 yellow cards away from suspension for the most important Premier League games. So I'm going to start George up there. George,
so I might have missed this, but do yellow cards in the FA Cup count in?
I believe so. First, I think, well, actually, in the Carabao, I don't think they did. So you might have a point there. Traditionally they used to, but maybe they don't. But
well, if they do, he can stay at home this weekend. That'd be my advice. You stay home, put your feet up, play some FC 25 or whatever it is.
Certainly didn't in the Carabao, but I'm not used to be with the Cup when I was there at the FA Cup. It used to be, but maybe not. But let's give George a run out anyway. He needs the 90 minutes. They've been few and far between for him.
I agree with most of what you've got going on there. And by the way, as always, we are live. Put your comments in the chat. Put your teams in the chat. We'll put them on the screen and we'll sort of discuss them. And also your score predictions. We'll ask that in a second. I do agree with most of what you've got. For me personally, you're right about Delap. So Delap, for me, wouldn't play. George Hurst can play. Get him some game time. Get him some minutes.
Not that he does 90 minutes anyway, so I'm not actually sure who would come on to replace him. But...
I mean, if sports science says he can go 90, I'll stick him on for 90 and I'll leave him. I mean, I know it's old school, but if he can do 90, he plays 90.
He could. Well, yeah.
He needs the minutes more than anybody else. If he can do 90, in terms of game sharpness and things like that, you can be fit, but there's a difference between fit and match fit, isn't there?
Yeah.
And obviously, he's on the sidelines. He needs to bring up that, particularly now when he's on number 2 with nobody else in support. He needs that match sharpness. You need a change for Enciso, so that makes sense.
You could start Amari in the 10 and then Broadhead's your number 9 replacement. That's probably the only option.
Yeah, I get why you're making the changes, but I just feel like you write your team on the board for Aston Villa, and then you scroll out Aston Villa. You write above it in pencil Coventry.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And then you look through it, and if you've got a concern like a Delap, okay, drop him out, bring in George Hurst. If you've got an injury concern like an Axel Tuanzebe, where he's had his own injury concerns, the sports science team perhaps are saying he can go, he can do 70. If you want to do 70, maybe you sit him down and you bring in Ben Godfrey for some minutes. But really, I'm looking to play my team from next week, this week.
I think that's sensible. We know McKenna doesn't do that, but I do agree with that approach. I do agree with that. Exactly. You want the same 11, really, to try and get a result at Coventry to take into Villa Park. Of course, the flip side of that coin is you lose to Coventry, then you've got the same 11 going into Villa Park.
That's football. There's always a risk in everything. And what swayed it for me was something that Chris Hall said on the Alex Palmer transfer show we did. We were discussing Tony Mowbray and how he said Mowbray tells his players, go out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You were once the best player on the playground. You were once the best player at your school, in your county, or whatever. It's supposed to be fun. Go out there and enjoy yourself. And when you're losing, as we are, players can sometimes forget it's fun. And
you lose it. Yeah. You lose while you're there in the first place.
Yeah. So, and go out there, enjoy playing in the FA Cup, enjoy this game, enjoy the shackles being released, if you like, of Premier League survival. And as a manager, you're hoping that you can try and generate some feel-good factor in this squad, in this group of players that you can transfer into the next one.
They weren't after Southampton. I mean, McKenna sounded despondent. Can't you imagine what the dressing room would have been like? So yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need that. You need that injected in your veins, as you like to say.
Yeah, and at this level, when you are under the microscope, you're sitting there watching, Super Sunday, having your Sunday roast, and Jamie Carragher suddenly mentions your goalkeeper. Who's your mate, right? You're under that microscope where you're talked about all the time.
Part of the territory, isn't it?
Enjoy it. Yeah,
part of the territory,
but it's difficult, isn't it? Or it's different to what you've been used to, where no one pays attention to the Championship, really. Let's be honest.
No, we're not used to being discussed on Super Sunday or Monday Night Football, and here's the mistakes Muric made, etc., etc. It's new to our players and new to the fans as well. Yeah.
So that's what I would do. But there's
tonight Coventry, don't they? Play tonight Coventry. They've got Leeds at 7:45. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. It's a tough game for them. One of your favourite players plays for Coventry. Someone who used to be on your shopping list, wasn't it? Ellis Sims. He was nearly here. He was nearly here himself. He was on McKenna's shopping list. Well, we need to prefix him as Frank Lampard's Coventry, of course. We've made an error there, haven't we?
Sorry, yeah, Frank Lampard. I should have written down the title.
That's their official name. I mean, they've won 4 on the trot, mine, so a bit of a resurgent Frank Lampard's Coventry, I think.
He's doing really well. Just outside the top 6, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they're on 41 points. Bear with a second, I'll tell you. I think they're on 41 points. Let's have a look here. So they're only 3 points out with the 4 wins they've had back to back. That's Santi Thomas, who was at West Brom. So someone Alex Palmer's going to know well. And Ellis Sims seems to be the goal scorer. So a decent side, I would say. Well, they had a good cup run last year themselves, didn't they, under Robbins? Got to the semi-final. Unlucky not to get to the final. Would have done so if it hadn't been for VAR.
You wonder if perhaps Sims may be someone they revisit in the summer. Should be relegated, as a player they've identified previously. Yeah,
it's interesting that, isn't it? Because when you see, we've said this loads, haven't we? But how old is Sims? 24. Just looking at him here. He's 24 years age. And look at the strides that Delap has made. As we've said before, he plays in that whole game and we beat him, 3-0? I can never remember the result. 3-0, 3-1. You would know what Ipswich fan would have remembered him on the pitch. He's a completely different animal now since July to January under McKenna. Who knows what someone like an Ellis Sims or someone of that ilk, if McKenna was still with us, of course, and the coaching team we've got, just shows you how quickly you can make progress under Kieran. But yeah, Coventry 11th for the moment. So they've won 11, drawn 8, lost 11. So there you go, 41 points and sitting just under. So there's a 3-point gap between 6th and 11th. And 12th, and 13th, blimey. It's close to getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Watford started the game against Norwich in 7th and they ended it, I think, in 14th or something silly. Like, it's that type of league.
They're 12th, but still only 3 points off.
Yeah. And Norwich really obviously leapfrog them. Hamish says, I could see % plan for Town next season if we go down. Sean says, Palmer, Godfrey, O'Shea, Captain, Burgess, Davis, Phillips, Goyused, Philogene, Hutchinson, Broadhead, and Delap. So Sean's playing Delap up the top. That's again, very acceptable team. If that,
Yeah,
it's not anything that you would say, oh no, really? Yeah, I'm up.
You're going to be changing your 2 midfielders then, aren't you? Because Phillips and Goose, they don't do the 90, do they? So I hope Massimo and Taylor are ready to go from the bench.
This is it. We got the Warriors. Our mentality, once we can see, is a big change, says Mike D. I used to back us, now our heads drop. Confidence must return if you have to have any chance. That's what I was saying a second ago about that Mowbray comment in terms of, go out and enjoying it. And and this is not disrespecting Coventry. You could say Coventry could very much turn up and beat us, but from our perspective, we've got to believe we're a Premier League side. We've got the the better team, if you like. We've got to believe that, particularly as fans.
I do agree with what Mike's saying there, because we've mentioned it previously. And obviously, that was first underlined by McKenna, wasn't it, when we conceded to Brighton, and he said we didn't have the belief to get back into it. What I will say is we got back into the game against Southampton very quickly, and before the Delap was through 1-on-1 with Ramsdale and scored, there was the header down from Broadhead, and he just put it over the bar, didn't he? With that kind of flicked his foot out, didn't he, on the edge of the 6-yard box? So I didn't see that particularly in that game, but Mike is historically correct. I mean, as soon as we've gone 1 down against Liverpool, Man City, Brighton, game over.
But it's really helpful that we're not playing somebody that that is 3 divisions below, 2 divisions below. So it was really helpful. We're playing somebody not only a division below, but equally somebody in form and has picked up a lot of points recently. It's really helpful, because it's going to be a really tough battle. They're a really good side. It's gonna be really competitive. It's gonna be a really, you're not gonna have to sort of like last round, for example. No disrespect to Bristol Rovers, but it's not gonna be like, you go 2-0 up and then you coast the rest of it. And you sit in third gear and you just bob along for the rest of the game. You may get a couple more goals, but this will be a really tough test on Saturday. You'll have to work through the gears. You'll have to work for it. That also helps, particularly if you win it, because you get more, you get that shooter confidence again. And so that's helpful. And if we get beaten, we just say we're focused on the league, right? We're used to it as Town fans. We get knocked out of the cup. That's fine.
Yeah. As we did against Wimbledon. As we did against Wimbledon back in August. And I'm sure Lampard is obviously trying to reignite his own managerial career after some disappointments. And he's probably looking at McKenna and thinking, when I was the young manager coming through, and what was different about me was I had 100-odd England caps and won European trophies and Premier League titles. So he's obviously looking at McKenna and thinking, he's where I want to be. So he wants to reignite his career as well. So be interesting. I mean, it seems many moons ago he was interviewed at Portman Road, wasn't he? When Paul Hurst got the job.
Yes.
And he wasn't interested apparently after Marcus Evans said there ain't going to be a lot of dough around.
Yeah, I can't blame him.
I'll see you later. He ends up winning. Goes Derby, and then he goes Chelsea, then he's Everton, now he's at Coventry. So he's on his fourth job, isn't he? But he will be wanting to get back into the Premier League and be like McKenna, I would have thought. I'm
still surprised this is not a TV game. I thought this would be one of those classic TV games they stick on. Coventry semi-finalists only 18 months ago. McKenna in charge of Ipswich Town struggling in the Premier League, Coventry doing fairly well in the Championship, Frank Lampard in charge. It just felt like when it was drawn, it had all those little ingredients that sort of tick the box for TV viewership. Casual viewers, they know who Lampard is, they know who Ipswich are.
You've got Man United, Leicester. They always choose Man United because of the global.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think Leyton Orient Man City must be a TV game. That's your traditional giant killing opportunity, isn't it? I don't know what the other games are, actually. I'm not sure. Plymouth Liverpool. I think Villa Spurs is one. See, they'll often have an all Premier League.
That for me is, why is that a TV? Other than the obvious of they want to go for the bigger Premier League teams because it's ratings, and ratings is what drives it. This is fair, but other than that, really, what's the ingredients of that game that makes you think, as a casual viewer, for example?
Well, they will choose Aston Villa Tottenham, for example, because it's an opportunity for terrestrial TV to show two Premier League sides at a peak time on their channel. There's no science behind it. That's exactly it. That's why Man United have always on TV pretty much, because of the global audience. It's all about audience. If it's on ITV, then you're going to get the advertising revenue that comes in on the back of that. And of course, Leyton Orient Man City gives you that kind of like traditional giant killing. I mean, that's the perfect game, really. I mean, that must have been the first one down, I reckon. Orient are doing well in League One. Man City are all over the bleeding shop because Scott done 5-1 at Arsenal. Who'd have thought that after they beat us 6-0? So, I mean, you've got the giant killing opportunity there. So, you love that, don't you? Stay humble. It's all gone pear shaped, isn't it?
It's gone pear shaped since he said it. No, and I get it, and that's why I'm not upset. When you got Man United, Liverpool, those clubs on the TV all the time, because I get it. The BBC, is it on BBC? I imagine it's BBC we're talking about here.
BBC or ITV, one or the other. Yeah,
whoever it is, you pay a lot of money for it. You want to make sure you can get the most eyeballs, because if it's ITV, you can get more ad revenue, I imagine, through your ratings. If it's BBC, obviously you can then justify the fee you paid for it. I just look at it and I think there's still room for that cup tie that you look at it and you go, there could be something there. There could be.
Okay, I like your thinking. I mean, look, let's not forget on ITV now, back in live football, because they've got with the Football League, because they've got the Carabao Cup, Spurs
and Championship. That was a shock to me.
Yes, the new deal kicks in from January 25. So if we do return to the Championship next season, then we could feature on ITV quite heavily. So
there I was scrolling through, and normally you get to ITV, and you've got something on there like, I don't know, Antiques Roadshow, and that's BBC. Something on there, I don't know, like, give me an ITV show. Footballers' Wives. I don't know.
Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. Thinking about that's now ITV. London's Burning. Normally you get like the Old Bill or whatever. And suddenly it's just said Middlesbrough.
It's good back in the mix. Yeah, it's good to back in the mix to show it. I think that's been a big miss. And of course, probably the next round of rights, you'll see 3 p.m. kickoffs being shown live. Pretty certain that's going to happen. 3 p.m. kickoffs going off.
Should have said Heartbeat. the TV show that gave every child of a certain generation growing up nightmares, because at 8 p.m. it was on a Sunday night and it was like, oh, the weekend's over, school's tomorrow, and you're just waiting to be sent to bed.
Yeah. Bloody green grass.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff. Right, score predictions then as we round up. What been a great show. So thanks for joining us, everyone at home. Your score prediction, please, for Saturday.
Oh, we've got to get back to winning ways, and I'm sure we will. Look, we had the great scenes we had there last season, didn't we? To get all intents and purposes promoted, didn't we? Cameron Burgess is winner in a 2-1 win. I think it might be 2-1 again. I think it might be 2-1 again. I hope it's 2-0 and Palmer and the defence can claim a clean sheet on his debut if he plays, which I'm pretty certain he's going to. 2-1. Ellis Sims to score for them. There you go.
Yeah. Tommy's in. Welcome in, Tommy. He's gone for the classic result of Coventry 3, Ipswich 1. Because if you don't know Tommy's always in here. He's a resident, but he's not a Town fan, so he's always
in the old all kit yellow and green, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know who Tommy supports.
Coleman's mustard on the front.
If he wrote it, I never saw it, but do let us know, Tommy, who you support, because he's here every week. And to be fair, he's been right more times than wrong this year. To be fair,
good punditry, Tommy.
Yeah, Sky TV and BBC will be calling in for the weekend's action. Coventry 2, Town 3, says Hamish, after extra time.
That'd be a good game. That would be good. Do we want extra time?
No,
leading up
plans in the evening. No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, there's also talk of extra time being done away from next season. It would just go straight to pens, which I'm a fan of, really. Extra time dates way back, doesn't it? 60 odd years or whatever.
Yeah, you bring back golden goal.
Did you like that? Were you a fan of that?
Golden goal, yeah. Who doesn't love golden goal? Like it's like school ground rules. Next goal wins.
Next goal wins. Yeah, before your mum calls you in for tea.
Yeah. Or the boy or girls whose ball it is, they're going home. I've got to go home in 5 minutes. Oh no, quite quick, next goal wins.
Yeah. I like the idea of going straight to pens. I quite like that.
No, I'm not a massive fan of pens.
What I'm not a massive fan of is the non-league clubs now missing out on huge paydays like Tamworth did, held Spurs to the draw over 90 minutes, didn't they? And then they missed out on a huge payday going $60,000 at Spurs. When I used to work across the competition, non-league clubs would tell me they were praying they could get a replay because the revenue they would get off the back of like the Spurs game would sort them out for the next decade.
Yeah, it's disappointing just so they can have a extra friendly at the end of the year.
So they can go to Australia and play in some kind of competition there. Yeah, exactly.
Madness, isn't it? Madness. But no, I agree. Yeah, but yeah, golden goal, no VAR, rush keepers. There you go.
Love that. Email into the FA with your ideas, and then we'll see what they say. See what their customer services say. I like it.
Yeah, that'd be a great little game, wouldn't it?
Suddenly, and they gave slipped in rush keepers there at the end as well.
Yeah, rush keepers as well. Proper, playground rule stuff. If you can't get decided in 90, now we're going to do it as you would have done as back in the playground. Like rush keepers, next goal wins.
Yeah.
Knock it over the fence, and the old boy at number 4 will burst it with his scissors. I told you not to put this boy on my fence. Sorry.
If I knock on the door, you can do the talking.
Yeah. Give us the leg up. So you'd always get over the wall, and then you'd realise, how am I getting back?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because there's no one come with you, do they?
No, you're sneaking and you're trespassing. You're in all sorts of problems. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, right. First goal. My wife wants first goal wins, but she does this like football, says Sean. Aiden says, I love golden goal. Mike dear, they should take a player off every 3 minutes till someone scores.
That's very American sounding, that, isn't it? Like a little siren goes and then 2 players have to come off. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, in the sin bin.
Unlikely, I think, but we'll see.
I think my rush keeper side has got more.
Rush keepers is good. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, that's good.
Good. Right, we're done. Don't forget, Stowmarket Osteopaths. Call Freddie 01449613633. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. Desperately needed him this week. Went and saw him, and he's really helped my back. You wouldn't believe how much pain I was in before I went to saw him.
Not tension.
Yeah, it's called relegation. It sits on my shoulders. He said, your shoulders are quite tense this week. I said, yeah, well, just what Southampton beat us at Portman Road. How do you think my shoulders are feeling, pal? But yeah, give Freddie a call. 01449613633. He has been Matthew Phillips. We are live after the Coventry City game with our match reaction. Join us, win, lose or draw, as we break it down on what will be a very, very difficult game this Saturday. But until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Share to your friends. Subscribe so you never miss a show in the future. But until then, take care. God bless. All the best.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down or when I get blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy.